I'm Jill. I'm an alcoholic. I've been through this process with the help of Big Book Step Study sponsors, meetings like this, a loving higher power that I found doing this work. I've made amends. I have more to make. I also live making living amends. And I try to do 10, 11, 12 to the best of my willingness on a daily basis. Best line in this whole reading is, we all have sex problems. Whew! Like, thank God. Because I came here thinking I was the only one. And I had a really, unique perspective on that because I thought that, I thought for a long time there was two me's, I thought that there was the Jill that grew up, really fun, exciting, adventurous, kind of roll off your back kind of attitude, and then puberty hit. Like, what? What is this? This is bad. Not only is it bad, just women, we can relate, right? It's just bad. You find out that you got the next 30, 40 years of a monthly friend that you didn't ask to come, and, it's just, and then everyone starts looking at you differently, especially the guys you used to play, softball with, or, wiffle ball in the backyard. All of a sudden they don't want you just as a teammate. They want other things, and you're just like, what? I don't understand what happened here. And it's just, it's pretty mind-boggling at like 11, 12 years old to experience that, quite honestly. You go from being like a playground friend to, the hunted and the prey, you know what I mean? It's like, it's pretty crazy. And for many women, they do that so graciously, I, on the other hand, did not. I did not do that graciously at all. I was intimidated by that. I was not interested in that. I was, all my girlfriends are chasing Steve, and I'm looking at Steve's sister, thinking, I don't know what's up. I mean, Steve's okay, but check out Steve's sister, right? So, that brought a lot of shame, though, because, although it's a little bit more accepted today, it was not accepted in the 80s where I grew up, in the early 80s in a small town. It was not really a joke. There was violence, there was, bullying, there was a lot of really crazy stuff that happened. And I carried that shame with me for a really long time. And not to get, crazy with it, but, I have to talk about that part of me because it is my experience. It is something that definitely is the seeds of the shame that I carried for actually till today. I still have, pieces of that shame that still live in me today. Wow, phew, I just got really emotional. That's really crazy. Because I've been gay for a long time, yeah, it's like really scary to be up here and talk about your truth, and the thing is that I wouldn't have done this if I didn't have this program. I was somebody who drank to fit in, drank to feel good about myself, drank to feel good about the relationships that I was in, felt, whatever it was, just a lot of times just to like the person that I was hanging out with, because I didn't really like a lot of them. I just took whatever I thought I could get because I didn't feel like I was, it says in here, it says, we remember always that our sex powers were God-given and therefore good, neither to be used lightly or selfishly, nor to be despised or loathed. But guess what? Everything in my experience told me that I should be despised and loathed because of my God-given, which I believed were God-given, sex powers or whatever. And so that really messes people up, so you become part of a group of people that, you know, are either in denial about it or are, you know, kind of like celebratory of it or whatever. And, you know, I found both of those places, I found comfort. In both of those places I found shame. So, you know, it's kind of crazy. So anyways, I get here and I'm thinking, I don't have a God because God already, you know, let me down a long time ago because everyone else's, you know, God-given sex powers were awesome and mine were not, you know. And then I come here because I'm desperate and I'm drinking beyond my control and I have responsibilities in my life and things that I can lose that I don't want to lose. And I hear the God word here and I'm like, you know, desperate enough, I guess, to play the game and to try to figure out, you know, where are they going to get me? You know, when are they all going to come out in the cloaks and, you know, and be like, you know, and all that kind of good stuff. And that saying, you know, just keep coming, that just adds to that's like the chant, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make me feel comfortable. It's like, just keep coming, you know, like, but I did, you know, because I was desperate enough. But then we, you know, I decide on, you know, doing this work. I decide I'll go to any lengths, right? And then I go through this work, and, you know, everybody kind of skips over the whole sex, part, or talks about like, oh, I don't want to get to that sex part. And I'm thinking, you don't, man, you have no idea, right? And so I get to the sex part, and it's not really what anybody thinks it is, but in my head, I'm like, oh my God, like there's going to be some kind of like seance, and they're going to try to like dispel stuff from me, and like I'm going to be, you know, you are, you know, I have all these weird like, wow, this is not going to be fun. But it wasn't like that at all, you know. They tell me to write a list of people that I have been intimate with or fantasized about or whatever, and I'm like, are you for sure? Like, even fantasied about, you know? But I made that list, you know, and let me just back up for a second, because this is how powerful, like, being gay is in my journey about being alcoholic, is that when I first got to the program, I had asked somebody to sponsor me, and I get that, she says, yeah, and so I get to her car with her, and I say, I need to let you know that I'm gay. And she goes, really? I go, yeah. She goes, are you alcoholic? I go, yeah. She goes, okay, I can help you with that. You know, but like, that's how, like, I was like, is she gonna, like, you know, like, work with me and then find out and then, like, shame me or, like, say, oh, well, you didn't tell me that, you know, like, so I was getting, like, some really good, you know, the people that had been through this process were really, like, the most tolerant people that I've been around, regardless of, you know, my sexuality or, you know, really anything else. I've tried even, you know, shocking my current sponsor with so many different things, and I can't seem to do it. So it's really comforting. So when I did do the sex inventory, I had to write down all these names, and you know, it brought up again more shame, because it was really for the first time in my life that I looked at in a sober, non-drunk way at all of the wreckage that I had, you know, and there was, you know, all kinds of people on that list. There were men on that list. There were women on that list. There were couples on that list. There were, you know, there was all kinds of crazy shit, because anytime I engaged in any kind of sexual activity, for the most part, I was drunk, because I had so much shame around it. And so at that point, most of them I remembered, probably a lot I didn't remember, because that's the kind of situations I would put myself in. But even with that, the relationships behind it, which is really what they're talking about, not so much the actual sex act, but the actual relationship that went around with it. A lot of mine didn't have relationships around with it, because it was like the girl from Lexington, or like, you know, the couple from this bar, or you know what I mean? So there was no really relationship to really dig into. It was easy to see what would you have done if you trusted and relied on God. I wouldn't have been there. I wouldn't have had shame about myself. I wouldn't have, I wouldn't have pretended I liked pool. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. But the things that I did realize with the relationships that I did have were that they were, typically the thing that I wanted was some kind of either status or some kind of care or some kind of, love that I thought I needed, or, it was never about like getting to know this person and like figuring out what I could do for them or like any of that. It was never about the other person. It was always about how can I feel better. And even though in the beginning I'm sure I'll be drunk, but are you somebody that maybe I can not drink with and eventually have sex with? Then that would be good. That would be like a successful relationship, And that's not a very good, like bar to set yourself at, So anyway, I guess when I went through this list, I had to really look at my own conduct. I had to look at where I was selfish, where was I dishonest, where was I inconsiderate. I mean, I didn't consider, so I was always inconsiderate. I didn't think I was at the time. I thought I was really, really a pretty nice catch. You know what I mean? Not so much. I was really a train wreck. And, I had some long-term relationships that, I do think, were mutually messed up. Like, I don't think that I was the only messed up one in there, but it definitely was one that, I thought if they were jealous of me, then that meant they loved me. If they were, if I could hurt them, then that meant they loved me, right? Anybody that had any self-worth that wouldn't take my crap and walk away, I was like, glad I weeded them out. You know what I mean? Like, woo, I spared myself some self-dignity, I don't even know what I thought. It's like I had no idea. I was completely, what I learned in this program is that I'm completely emotionally immature, or was, and I'm slowly becoming less of that, but I walked around, I was that total, like, the great I am with the lowest self-esteem that I could, pretend to hide. And that, that was less shameful than the shame that I was carrying around before, to be honest with you. And, I did get into a relationship when I was in it, after I was in this program for a while, and that has since kind of recently ended. And it's so painful, because one, I never drank when I was with this person. Sexually or not, I was, everything about our relationship was sober, and I thought that I was the best me in this relationship. So when it ended, I was like, what the hell, how could this end, But again, I'm not the only one in the relationship. I'm still trying to figure that out. I do today though think about I was true and honest in this relationship, and I did learn how to set my own boundaries, and I learned how to not accept unacceptable behavior and all of those things, and it didn't work out. And I don't necessarily also have to be like, that person's horrible now, I can also break up and still see and love the parts about that person that I loved and that are good, and realize that we're not a good fit for each other. So I don't know, I feel like I can have better relationships in all my affairs too, not just in my sexual relationships, but in all my relationships with my mother, my sister, my brothers. Another story about relationships, I was somebody who thought that I was a really great, family member. I was the fixer, I was the one that everybody came to, I was strong, I was, whatever. But really, I was just opinionated and helpful when no one asked for my help. So, again, this is a turning point for me in this program. And so I was, there's some other addictions and addicts in my family, and one of the things that I learned here was about promotion and not promotion, attraction, not promotion. And that was, hard for me because I had, active addicts in my family and stuff like that. But I didn't. I took the advice that I got here, and I said nothing, and I did nothing. And the greatest gift that I've ever gotten from this program is a couple of years after I got in, I got my sister came into this program and is now one amongst us. So this is amazing stuff, and I'm so grateful to be here. I live in gratitude now, and I'm just a happier, less shameful person on a daily basis. Thank you.